Okay, thank you very much, Daya. I think, well, the time now is up, and I will ask Anne to put up the results of the poll, please. So here, Daya, we can see the results.
Mm-hmm.
It is supported by over 90%.
Yes. Okay, good. Thank you very much, members. The proposal as it stands in the papers carries then overwhelmingly. Thank you very much for your contributions to the debate. So that takes care of the one item. Could we come next to the matter of the number of candidates? Now, as I said in the chat, there have been a number of points made. Quite a few members are fine, are comfortable with 2 to 3, as stated in the document. Some have indicated a greater number. It really comes down to the whole business of why we have an elections committee, a group of wise individuals who will give very careful consideration to the set of candidates so as to be able to put to the membership a list of a size which allows members to consider, let's say for argument's sake 3, to weigh up the candidates, to make a decision, as opposed to having to contend with a long list of candidates, all of whose credentials, if you like, members would have to examine very carefully in order to make a considered decision about how to vote. So there are quite a few that have come through as 2 or 3. I wonder if I could, and Sats, I'm going back to some comments that you'd made, and just wondering whether we want to, well, I'm inclined, on the basis of what I'm reading here, I'm inclined to deduce that there is general comfort with, at least with 3, and some are indicating 2 or 3. So we could, on the one hand, have a poll on exactly what stands in the document, in the rule of procedure containing 2 or 3 names, or we could put a modified proposal for 3 names. But I would suggest, unless somebody has a contrary view, I would suggest that we put the proposal as it stands in the document, a list of candidates containing 2 or 3 names for each officer position. And again,
I agree.
Thank you. Thanks, Sats. And I stress that, we are asking, we would be relying on the wisdom and the good judgment of an elections committee to decide how many to put forward and which candidates to put forward. Charles, I think we should take a poll on that.
So what would you like to put into the poll?
All right, the elections committee, it's really, it's the first sentence of Rule of Procedure 6.2.
And focusing on the exact number, so 2 or 3?
Yes, yeah.
And what would the alternative be, 2 or 3, or only 3, or 3 and 4?
No, but just a yes or no to that.
Okay. Yes, we can prepare that.
Okay, Alex.
So you want? Go ahead,
yeah.
Alex.
What is related to 6.2 is only officers, but the similar things will come with governing board members.
Yes. Yes.
Probably it would be more general, not only officers, but it's in general. What is it? members thinking about up to 3 or 2 and 3 as it is written here.
Okay, so I would say thank you, Alec, for that. So it's the it's I would take in toto, Charles, rule of procedure 6.2
Yes.
about the number of candidates, additional names, the business about the final list we have dealt with already, but just, you know, for neatness, take the whole of 6.2, and then I would suggest take 7.2 as well. It's the same issue. 7.2 with the modification of 30 names for 10 positions of ordinary membership.
Okay, and that would be 30.
Yeah. 30 for 10.
Okay, we can propose a text for that.
Yeah. All right. So
But the thing with 7.2 is then if you go to 30 full, that means that you need a full 30, and there's not a chance to have 2 candidates for a certain position. It will be in total 30.
yeah. Yeah, there's an issue of scale here.
There's a
And
difference there.
I think it's fine as it stands. Yeah, rather than having a range. Okay, so Charles, could you go ahead then?
Peter would like to say something.
Oh, Peter. Peter,
I was muted. I was just noticing the Zoom disease. I was just noticing in the chat box, Jörg and Doyen both suggesting up to 3, because there may not necessarily be 3 nominations for some positions.
But up to 3 is tricky because you don't want to have one candidate.
So 2 to 3. I don't know.
I agree, Charles. Okay. All right. Good. Amam says up to 30 candidates for 10 positions. I think we should, I think we should leave it at 30 and not up to, so that we can have a decent sized list for what is a large number of governing board positions. Anyway, Charles, you...
Yes, so we are going to, so you want to combine it in one. So we will do 6.2 per sentence and 7.2.
Yeah.
And in 7.2 we're also talking about the first sentence. And we'll use 30 there. So it's 2 or 3 or 30. We are going to prepare this, and we will need some time, and then come back to you when we have it finalized.
All right. Thanks, Charles.
Okay, Daya, we're back. Thank you all for waiting. It has now become quite a long question, so bear with us, please. Okay. Hello, Daya.
Yes, Charles.
I'm sorry, I was just disconnected for a moment. We have now, I think we now have the final text for a poll. You can hear me, Daya?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. So please bear with us. The question has become pretty long, but it is exactly as what you said. Maybe, Anne, we can take out the last sentence. Is that possible? I will read you the question, and then I can move people to the poll. Just a moment. So the question is now, do you agree with the proposal 1, 6.2, the Elections Committee shall propose a list of candidates containing 2 or 3 names for each officer position listed under Rule of Procedure 6.1. And 2, so do you agree to the proposal? The Elections Committee, after reviewing these proposals and with appropriate regard to Rules of Procedure 5, shall propose a list of candidates containing 30 names for 10 positions of the ordinary membership of the governing board. And then there's another sentence after that, but this is the main part of the question.
Charles, I think we should include the second. I think we should include the second sentence in each of those. Just in case that becomes an issue as well. The Elections Committee may include additional names not proposed by a member of the council. You with me?
Yes, I'm absolutely with you. I hear what you're saying.
Second sentence in 6.1 and the second sentence in 7.2. Okay, now I'm just looking at something that Mike Meadows has posted. This is about candidates for ordinary membership. So should the poll not read up to 30? If there are 2 to 3 candidates proposed, then 30 may not be reached. Mike, the members, I'm looking at 7.1 now. Members of the council shall be invited to propose candidates for ordinary membership. So there is no number specified there. So I would leave it as is. Charles, okay, so we've got a couple of Michelle Bruce also says up to 30 names. Well, just before you put the poll, Charles, can we just get a sense of that? It seems to me that this part of the election process is different to that for the officers. It's a significant number of ordinary member positions. Up to what sort of discretion would that imply?
I think it would make more sense to have a range if you want, because up to is tricky because that can be 1 up till 30.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, yeah. So Jörg Pfister says 30 is too many. 2 to 3 for 10 should mean an average 25 names. I recommend to go for 20 only, 2 positions, 2 per position. Pam says it should say 30. Okay. What do we do here? As far as the poll is concerned, yeah, look, Charles, I do agree. Up to 30 gives too much latitude. Marvin says, how about 20 to 30? Ching says, how about 20 to 30? Yuri says 30 is okay. Can I? Yeah.
Shall we make it 20 to 30?
Let's make it 20 to 30. Okay, there are a few comments coming through. Make it 20 to 30. Yeah.
And so for us, once more, because we now need to go back to this poll. So Daya, we will include the second sentence of 6.2 and the second sentence of 7.2.
Yes. Yes.
It will. I'll just have to warn you that it's going to be a very long question. But as long as people know that, then it's not a problem.
Okay. Fine, thanks. In the meantime, we've got a number of comments indicating support for 20 to 30, but please go ahead, Charles. So I'll leave it to you now, and you will inform members when we're ready.
Sorry, and we need to go back to the drawing board and get this sorted, but we'll be back in 3 minutes.
Okay, all right, fine, thank you.
Daya?
Yes, Alec?
Excuse me, this is Alec. Maybe with not waiting for the poll, we can go to the number 4, others, because it's a 2 point there, and we will finish in general then the consideration to leave the people for a break.
Yes. Alec, good idea. Colleagues, let's do that while we're waiting for you to vote and for the vote to be counted and the like. Could I ask you to turn your attention to section 4 of the document and proposed changes labeled Other. These additional changes were proposed by the International Union for Geodesy and Geophysics, and it's about electronic means of decision making and possible changes to the statutes, the rules of procedure. So there are 2 boxes there. The first item refers to Statute 11J. So elect the members of the Elections Committee by electronic or other means. So this is logistical. It just gives us the ability to do so without being constrained if, for example, we're not able to meet in person to do that. And then 13 is recognition in the last sentence that extraordinary sessions may take place in physical or virtual format as decided by the governing board. If I may then just complete with 43, Statute 43, proposals for changes to any articles of the statutes and rules of procedure may be made by a member of the council or the officers of the council with the governing board's endorsement. And draft amendments, we won't have a secretary any longer if these changes are approved. So these go to the president at least 6 months in advance. Could I ask if we could adopt these? They are, I think, fairly uncontroversial. They allow for smoother working. Well, I've got a question from Jason Lee with regard to 13. You ask, is the virtual format meeting for the Ordinary General Assembly excluded? Alec, is this not taken care of?
Yes, it is not taken care of the Ordinary General Assembly.
It's taken care of
only extraordinaries.
Yeah, this deals only with extraordinary assemblies, but in the relevant statute, I'll try to find it, dealing with ordinary general assemblies, this particular point is taken care of. But thank you for raising that.
In ordinary, it's allowed. It's everything is fine. Yes.
Good, thanks. So, okay, so it seems that we have tacit approval. Statute 33. Okay, Chris, this is a different matter. For how long are the appointments of the members of the Forum of Patrons? This is statute number 33. Just before I respond to that, could I then assume that the changes under other in statutes 11J and 13 and statute 43 are approved to be included in the voting? Thank you for that. Do we have a specified term for the Forum of Patrons? I just need to find this.
No, we have no.
Yeah. So the answer is there is no specified term, Chris.
Okay, Diane.
Yes, Charles.
I'm back with the poll,
Yes.
which we have now lined up. It is a long text, so again, please bear with us, but what it actually says is, the question is, do you agree to the proposed, and then we have the first two sentences of both 6.2 and 7.2, with the caveat that in 7.2 we have now included 20 to 30 names. So I would like to invite all the voting representatives of the members who are allowed to vote to again go to the polls, to have a look at the question and vote.
Thank you, Charles. Let me just say, while we're waiting, colleagues, I think that, well, how we proceed will depend on the outcome of the poll. If the proposal carries, then I think we will have dealt with everything in Rules of Procedure 6.1 to 6.4 and 7.1 to 7.4. If not, well, then we'll have to decide how to proceed. And then that would bring us to the end of the item on changes to the statutes and rules of procedure. I'd just like to draw your attention to the fact that we are running, well, maybe 40 minutes or thereabouts behind time. This cannot be helped. You have to give proper attention to these complex items. I will try my best to ensure that we complete our business by the scheduled close time, which would be 10:40 Central European time. But I hope that if necessary, you would be able to stay on for just a bit so that we are able to complete our business. We will, Charles, once we have the result of the poll, then I think we should take a break anyway, whatever the outcome.
Thank you, Daya. We will give people 1 more minute to go to the polls. The same people who have the right to vote and who haven't done so yet, please go to the polls and vote, and then we will give you the results shortly. Okay, maybe she can share with us the final results. Thank you, Anne. I still think it's a bit small for people to see.
Okay, so the question, do you agree with the proposals and set out there under 1 and 2? No, there are 4 disagreements, which constitute 7.5% of the poll, and 49 in agreement, which constitutes 92.5% of the poll. So we have overwhelming support for the wording of Rules of Procedure 6.2 and 7.2 to read as you see them on the screen. Well, of course, there is a final sentence that has to be added that had been decided earlier. Colleagues, thank you very much for that. So I think that we have now completed our discussion of the Elections Committee and the elections procedures. We've made our decisions. In other words, we now have agreement on what is going to be put to the membership to vote on after the end of this meeting. I would suggest that we take a break. Charles, could I just say, or Haida, or both, we had talked about the possibility of having a slightly longer break so that we could do the preparatory work for the final version. Do you want to do that, or shall we take a 15-minute break and build that in later on?
It would help us very much if we could have a half an hour break, Daya.
Okay.
Because then we can prepare, and then we can hopefully have the full texts ready at the end of this meeting.
Okay, good. Thank you, Charles. So colleagues, we will have, it's 25 minutes past the hour now. We'll take a 30-minute break, okay, a half-hour break, to give the team time to prepare the final version, which will be the next item on the agenda. So we will present the final proposed changes under 3 and 4, and then the introduction to the final version of the changes, and I'll say something at that stage about the voting. Okay, so we'll be back in 30 minutes time at 5 minutes to the hour.